Need to set up a couple of things. If you can just bear with me, I'm going to try and see if I can do a live broadcast every Saturday, if I may, at about 6 o'clock, on top of the videos that I normally do. I don't know if anyone's going to be watching this or not. And if no one watches it, that's fine as well. I'm still going to be doing this as a live broadcast anyway. Just 1 second. Let me just change the privacy for this thing here to public. Copy link, save video. Forgive me. Why am I not able to? Just a few teething problems. Forgive me. I need to try and change the settings on Facebook so that it's not a private video and it's public. Why am I not able to change it? Let me just check my YouTube as well. Right. I'm not able to change the only me on YouTube on Facebook to become a public thing, and I don't know why it's doing that. Right. So today's subject matter is pedophilia, America, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, the rest of the billionaires that have all been on Epstein Island, and what the consequences are of that. I'm going to see if I can get my live chat up and running on YouTube. Okay, just cancel that. Right. So I can now see people if they talk to me in chat on YouTube. I'm just going to check one last thing on X as well. Bear with me. Let me just see if we can get that live up and running. It looks like it's not going live to Twitter, which is a shame. Oh well. Right, let's get on with it. So I don't know if you saw or not, but there was like 3 million documents that were released by the FBI, and then they started to delete them. Donald Trump was mentioned some 3,000 times in these documents. And hey, Grandma Caprio, nice to see you in here. Nice to see people. People are starting to show up in the chat on YouTube. So if you want to talk to me and get involved in the conversation, please, that's my knee, by the way. Feel free to join the YouTube channel where I am. It's easy to find me. It's Uncle Hoz. You should be able to find me on there. So the conversation today is going to be about Donald Trump and how he is a captured human being, how he is basically on a leash from Israel. Bear in mind, every single time he was saying no to something, Benjamin Netanyahu got on a plane, went over there, had a chat with him, explained stuff to him, and then whatever Israel needed to get done, got done. So that is the situation. Why does Donald Trump do exactly what Israel says? Well, it's because, quite simply put, they've got him, and there's an FBI informant, an actual real life informant, who's turned around and said that Israel has captured Donald Trump. That means that this guy is basically unable to have his own will, and he has to do what he's told. In that same FBI report is the fact that they've said that Jared Kushner is the guy who is the brains behind this presidency. He is the person who is directing the mind of this. That is an FBI report that said that, not Hussein Shafi, not, some conspiracy theorists. It's the FBI who've said that, an informant has said that. Jared Kushner is an ultra-Zionist. He is a dual national Israeli-American. He has been put in place, and he is the husband of his daughter. He's his son-in-law. But this guy is the guy who's floated the idea of Gaza becoming the new, what's it called, beachfront property. And obviously you can't have a beachfront property with 2 or 3 million or 2.3 million Palestinians there. So he's the guy that did that. Why is it, do you think, that Donald Trump does exactly as he's told? You've all heard of the Epstein files, haven't you? The Epstein files is basically, there's an allegation, and again, this is not me saying it, this is just the allegations which I've read, that a 13-year-old girl happened to be doing something and bit something of Donald Trump's, and Donald Trump then smacked her around the head. These are the kind of allegations that have been said. And if you think for one moment that Donald Trump can do this kind of stuff and not be recorded, when every other person in every single property has been recorded, you're out of your mind. This guy is compromised beyond compromise, which is why he has fought so hard to make sure that the Epstein files do not get released unredacted. He signed into law in November the full release of the Epstein files in 2 to 3 weeks after that. But guess what? It wasn't released. Why wasn't it released? This is why. Because Donald Trump's name is all over it. Every single billionaire you can think of has been involved in problems to do with the Epstein files or the Epstein Island. Donald Trump has been going from one hot war to another, from one incident to another for a reason. It's because if he doesn't do exactly as he's told, he's going to have the rug pulled from under him. And at the end, and that, all that will happen is he'll get destroyed. So will his presidency. So will his legacy. Not that he's got a legacy left, because the whole world has seen that he is an Israeli agent. He does exactly what Israel tells him to do. This pedophile in chief has done nothing to try and help bring justice to the victims. I've just seen a tweet today from Elon Musk saying if there was any, what's it called, evidence of anything that has happened to these people, someone would have arrested someone. Someone would have been charged. Someone would have X, Y, and Z. So therefore, it must be all lies. Meanwhile, Elon Musk is in an email with Jeffrey Epstein saying, I can't wait till I come over with Tallulah, who was his wife at the time, to our island. So how many times has this guy gone over there that he's now calling it our island? He is compromised. Elon Musk is so compromised because he was putting tweets up of the irony, as in like the word the irony, but wrote it as IRANY, and showed that the Americans were bases were all around Iran. From taking the piss about that, he then on the 7th of October onwards was saying this is wrong. That is, you know, if you attacked Gaza, if I was living over there, I'd fight back. And they did what? They pulled a number on him and said, right, you better come to Israel. You occupied Palestine. And they got him to come over. And when they got him to come over, they showed him this baby cot, and he's standing there with his bulletproof vest. And that's when they had the chat with him. Because from that day onwards, from going to the occupied Palestinian region, he ended up going to Auschwitz. You know, this is the thing they do to people. With Ben Shapiro wearing the skull cap and basically lost his freedom of the will. He has become another Donald Trump. He's another... Bless me. If I don't see people typing bless you, I'm going to get pissed off. Get signing. Let's go. Say some bless you, at least one of you. Elon Musk got captured because they obviously have got him on video as well. They've got him saying things, doing things, which have basically dropped his ballsack. He does not have freedom of will to do anything. He's now carrying on the, what's it called? Thank you, Grandma. What he's doing is now carrying on an agenda that Israel wants. What does Israel want? Israel wants people fighting each other. They'd like to see Christians and Muslims fighting each other. They'd like to see Republicans and Democrats fighting each other. So what's the direction here? The direction is everyone's fighting each other. What they never want you to do is start fighting up. What they don't want you to do is to keep fighting the people that are causing these problems. That's what this situation is all about. Controlling the narrative, making sure that you hate Muslims. You got to get rid of all these foreigners out of our country. That's the narrative here. So the Israelis want all white people to hate Muslims. Why? Because Muslims is a good category for them to make the other. That is what's going on here. So what have they got? They've deployed Elon Musk into Mr. I'm also involved in Epstein Island to become this right-wing racist person that's peddling for, what's his name? Tommy Robinson, and supporting all of the right-wing things because it serves an agenda, and that agenda is a service of Israel. Why do you think so many British events have got British flags and the Israeli flag? Because they're selling hate, and they're selling hate on an equal level against each other. They want us fighting each other instead of fighting the people in charge. Who are the people in charge? Israelis and Israeli, servants. People like Keir Starmer, people like Donald Trump, people like Elon Musk. All of these people have to do what they're told because they want people to clash with each other and not upwards. And people need to understand, and I've been saying this for quite a while, that pedophilia is literally the worst thing that any person can do. It's the one thing that no one can accept. No one can turn around in any public society, whether it's Britain, Russia, Germany, France, America, any civil society, pedophilia is not acceptable. There is no one that will accept that this is a common practice and it's okay to do it. So they have got these kids that they've had on Epstein Island, and they've had all of these powerful people come over there. Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and there are many more. And they've got them caught in the act of pedophilia. And it's not just the pedophilia part of this. It's the control over them that they want. It's the fact that they become clients to the Israeli way. Because anyone that tells you otherwise is a lying piece of shit. Israel is the one who has sponsored and given all the power and money through its secret relationship with the CIA and with other internal security services to protect the Epstein people, because then they've got the leverage over them, and they've got leverage over Epstein as well. Not Epstein, sorry, but the Epstein people. And this is how they do it, through pedophilia. British politicians, one way or another, end up having a problem. Because I need to do something. 1 second. I need to shut down the notifications on this PC because I keep getting disturbed. So British politicians, American politicians, one way or another, they are seduced by either the money, the power that they're given because they're given permission to get into power and stay in power, or they use the last leverage on people who are not politicians, who don't want to get into power, who are billionaires, that want to get contracts, that want to be able to do business. They use the pedophilia thing. And a lot of these people are sick, deranged human beings, and they've been elevated from the swamp to become who they are. Don't think that they are the cleverest people in the world. Some of them maybe, like Bill Gates was a clever person. There's no doubt that he did what he did. But once he got to a certain level, they got him honeypotted. And to know, like, the thing that he would, the latest thing in the news is Bill Gates was asking Jeffrey Epstein if he can to get him antibiotics that he could slip into his wife's food or in any way possible, because he had got an STD from a Russian escort, and he wanted to make sure that his wife doesn't find out that he's got an STD. These guys they need each other, they work with each other, and this is the means by which so much of the control of what happens, the control and power dynamics of Washington and London, is all to do with pedophilia, homosexuality, people who are bisexual but don't want people to know they're bisexual. Keir Starmer, for instance, has got a case at the moment against him. And the Keir Starmer's case is 3 Ukrainian rent boys, and you look at them, they look like models, set fire to his house and his car and whatever else. There's a D notice on that. Why is there a D notice? And those of you who don't know what a D notice is when a person goes to the High Court and says, you have to tell the press that they cannot discuss this matter because this is a matter of national security, or it's a matter of something or another. And only the ultimate richest people in the world can afford to get these D notices. But that is what a D notice is. And they put a D notice on Keir Starmer's friends who set fire to his house, his car, and whatever else. All 3 of them are Ukrainian. I really don't know what the dynamic is with these 3 Ukrainians, but I do know there's something to do with the fact that Keir Starmer has promised to give £3.5 billion for the next 100 years to Ukraine. Why don't you keep that money in England? Why don't you use that money to build our country up? Why have we got to spend 3.5 billion over there? Do you think maybe it's got to do with the fact that you might be bisexual, allegedly, and the fact that you've got rent boys on the go? Is it true that you and Lord Ali maybe have got some kind of sexual affair going? This is the kind of thing I'm talking about. These are the compromises. These are the things that Israelis use. And it's not just Israelis, it's the deep state of which Israel are part of. MI5, MI6, CIA, all of these intelligence services, what they want to do is they want to drive people into positions of power, have absolute control over them for the fear of God, what might happen to them, because they'll get exposed for what they are. And in that way, they get what they want. On one planet Earth, can you tell me that any human being can watch what's happened to Gaza in the last 2 years, 2.5 years, and think that we need to be on the side of the people that are committing that genocide? On what planet Earth can a person be the leader of a country and turn around and not say to the person that's carrying out this genocide, listen here, mate, you're making me look bad, and I'm trying to support you, but you are doing such a bad job that I've got to stop you. But you don't. Why don't they stop them? Because they know anything that they need to press a button to get you to behave, they'll do it. Or they'll send Benjamin Netanyahu flying over to you and saying, listen, mate, you don't want this to come out. This is what's going to happen. No person can be the leader of a nation, whether it's France, Germany, or Britain, without them being compromised to do exactly as they're told. When was the last time we saw so many children killed and our government not sanction them? How did Russia get stopped from taking part in the Olympics, taking part in FIFA, to get stopped from all sorts of shit because of what they did with the Ukraine? Why is Israel an exception? Ask yourself that question. Why are they the exception? Why are they allowed to get away with it? The reason is because they've got control over them. And I want you to understand as well, American presidents not only have the fear of pedophilia, they have the fear of death. JFK was murdered by Mossad, by the Israeli intelligence services. He was killed with the help of the CIA. Now, every president that's come into power understands who killed JFK. Don't watch the bullshit films of JFK was killed by Harvey Oswald. JFK was killed by the this that. Who was the brainchild behind it all? The brainchild was the fact that JFK turned around and said to the Israeli Prime Minister, "You are not allowed to have a nuclear weapon. We need to check your your nuclear facilities that you don't have a nuclear facility that's building a bomb." And he turned around and said that APAC, the American Israeli, whatever the hell it's called, needs to be registered with FARA, which is the foreign agency. 22nd of November, JFK was killed because he embarrassed the shit out of the prime minister who said you're not allowed to have these nuclear weapons. You're not allowed to have a nuclear program. The Israelis had been using the mafia in America, the Jewish mafia, to help them facilitate stealing nuclear material from Dimona and taking that by ships to Israel, and where they had a program. And the Americans under JFK turned around and said that we're going to send a team over to check your, your nuclear facility. And they'd set up this nuclear facility for the inspections to come along. And the inspections were going to get done with a false set of like tables with dials that didn't have any meaning to it. And when JFK found out, he exploded. And JFK was killed because of that. Because he dared to open his mouth up. He dared to say something. And that's how they killed the president. And if you don't think that's a lesson for every other president thereafter, and if you think for one moment that, hi Daniela, if you don't think that what happened to to Donald Trump with the bullet going past his ear, now I don't know whether that was the Israelis going, listen, mate, this is what we can do to you, or that could also be a fake thing where he said I got hit by a bullet. I don't actually see a wound on his ear. And I saw him like 6 days later. He didn't look like he had a wound on his ear. I really don't understand all the dynamics. But I do know that the picture that was taken of him made him look like, I'm a hero. Donald Trump is a Israeli plant and an Israeli scumbag. And I say that because they're the ones who have controlled this pedophile ring. They're the ones who have made thousands of women and children into victims of this rabid, rapist, pedophile circle of people that have got more money than God. And the next currency for them is not money, but human people, human beings. How many people can they abuse and get away with? That's what these people are. They're power megalomaniacs. And they scare the shit out of all their victims, because when you see Jeffrey Epstein hanging out with Bill Clinton, and when you see things like that, you understand that there is fear. You understand that there's going to be a problem for you if you open your mouth up. Not only that, people have been killed on Epstein Island. People have disappeared. Children have disappeared. So the problem is here. Victims need to have justice. And we have got this huge leverage operation on top of the American government. And it has been there for years and years. And what's the final consequence of it? The final consequences is that they get to do what they want to do in Venezuela. Israel at the moment is trying to build something up called the Abraham Accords, which we've got in the Middle East, and they're calling something called the Isaac Accords. The Isaac Accords is Israel's relationship with South America. Venezuela is already, not Venezuela, Argentina is already has a president on there who wears a skull cap, whose name is Milikowski, but they call him Milei. He is a part of the Israeli plan. He is a person that works for the Israelis. Their way of getting things done is being done by them, by this government. Patagonia is being set on fire, and they've created a new law on the 9th of December that allows anything that gets burnt down to be sold, and the people doing the buying are the Israelis. So this Isaac Accord is now becoming embedded inside of, well, it's already embedded in Argentina. So what have we got next? Brazil next door has got this family called the Bolsonaro, which are Bolsonaro, if I got it right, I got it wrong, I'm sorry. But the amount of people that are in Brazil, as in like the mass total population, if they can turn that into a part of the Isaac Accords as well, they will nearly have the whole of South America's population, because they are an absolute lodestone. And Bolsonaro's wife was seen 3 or 4 days ago wearing a t-shirt with IDF on it. So we know whose side this right-wing candidate is. His son is going to be running up against Lula and his party. They're trying to turn the whole of South America into the Isaac Accords. Venezuela was never ever going to sign up any Isaac Accords. If anything, Venezuela said, we're with the Palestinian people, and what you're doing in Gaza as a genocide, we can't have anything to do with Israel. We have to support the Palestinian people, because that is the righteous thing to do. So what does Benjamin Netanyahu do? He flies over to Mar-a-Lago, sits with Donald Trump while they invade the palace. Sorry about this, but while they invade the presidential palace of Venezuela, and they take the president of a democratically elected country, and they say he's a gangster, he's a drug dealer, he's anything you want, but we're going to get him, move him. And what they're trying to do is do a coup d'etat to change Venezuela. But you know what? The Venezuelan people don't want a change in their government, and they want their president back. This was an attempt at a coup, and it's failed, because the people turned around and said, we don't want you to take away our president. And the president who's now in charge of Venezuela has turned around and said, there is going to be no change in government. We are who we are, and we are what we are. So the Isaac Accords are never going to work in Venezuela. But this was, again, why does Benjamin Netanyahu have to be in America on the same day that this attack goes ahead? Venezuela has been a stone in the shoe of Israel for a very long time, from Hugo Chavez's days to Nicolas Maduro's days, because these people have turned around and said that we are not going to be part of the clapping your hand, you have the right to defend yourself, like Britain, like Argentina, like France, like Germany, like all those places that I consider to be the vassal states of Israel. Forgive me if I'm going in a roundabout way, but the point I'm trying to make to you is this. Since the 1990s, in fact, since 1980s, Benjamin Netanyahu has been telling everyone how if you get rid of Russia, everything's going to be great. If you get rid of Libya, everything's going to be great. If you get rid of Syria, everything's going to be great. If you get rid of Iraq, everything's going to be great. If the final if for Israel is Iran. You know, we have a saying in Iranian, which is in لقمه غذا که میخوری گلوتو گیر میده. I don't know the exact thing. It's like when you eat a certain amount of, like if you eat one lump of food in one go, it's going to choke you. You know, you're not going to be able to swallow that meal. And Iran is the meal that you're not going to be able to swallow. Not only Iran is going to be a meal you can't swallow, Iran is actually going to cause the next economic crisis if it gets attacked. And it's not going to be a small economic crisis which you can fix with printing money. Iran has the power, and I want people to understand that. It has the missile systems to destroy every single oil refinery, oil terminal, which the oil comes out of, and every oil field in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, Kuwait, all of them. Why do you think Saudi Arabia is saying, don't get us involved in anything, Donald Trump? You're not allowed to use our airspace to do any bombing of Iran. You're not allowed to use any of our bases because we don't need it. We don't want it. Iran stopped the Yemen war with Saudi Arabia by sending 4 drones that apparently went from Yemen and hit the oil refinery in Saudi Arabia. 4 small drones. And because those buildings are very combustible, and if those drones hit the wrong thing, it would be a huge destruction. The Saudi Arabians decided they wanted peace with Yemen and not to continue the war because they don't want to see their country destroyed. Because financially, they cannot survive the oil destruction. Planet Earth cannot survive the oil destruction. And what do I mean by the oil destruction? I think I've done a job of, I've done a report, which I'll try and see if I can dig up for you. But there's like 47 critical facilities. 47 critical facilities. If those go out of action, that's 30% of all the oil that is produced on a daily basis. And there's 22 million barrels a day. And you'd lose 6 million to 7 million barrels a day. Yeah, like that. In production. And that cannot be replaced by anyone in the world. That level of oil production cannot be replaced by any country, no matter who it is, because they don't have the infrastructure to be able to convert the oil into any other product. Oil is used in everything. It's used in cars, it's used in laptops, it's used in phones. Everything you see has got oil in it. If we lose 30% of the level of crude oil, that is part of the world economy today, it will be a destruction of human life as it is today. And that is what's going to happen if Iran feels there's an existential threat to it. And I want you to understand that Iran has the capability to hit pinpoint any target it wants. During the 12-day war, the Israelis turned around and said, you didn't hit anything, your missiles didn't do anything. Well, guess what? A satellite went up that Iran put into the sky, and they've taken pictures of Nevatim Air Base, and every single one of the places that Iranians said they hit. And that is with Nevatim Air Base, it's supposed to have the best Iron Dome, the best THAAD disc, the best David Sling arrows, David Adams, I don't know what arrow, all these defensive missile systems. And the Iranians pinpoint destroyed every building, which is why they took their F-35s to Cyprus, a NATO country. If you think that Iran can't destroy the oil fields of Saudi Arabia, of Bahrain, of Qatar, the gas fields, all of that with one salvo of ballistic missiles, you're out of your mind. And to lose all of that capacity is not something that takes 18 months to rebuild. It's going to take a decade to build. And the only countries that are able to rebuild these things are the United States of America, South Korea, and Germany. Those are the 3 countries that have got the tech to be able to do that. And as in like a fast rollout. But imagine, if you will, a world where you've lost 30% of your oil capacity. Do you really think the world is going to move in a direction where, let me worry about Saudi Arabia, let me worry about Qatar, Emirates, this, that, and the other? Everyone's going to close in. There's going to be maybe 500 million people killed from hunger. Because I wish I could fucking turn off this thing. Fuck's sake. Keep getting messages on my phone. Can't turn the fucking thing off. Sorry about this, people, but I just need it out of the way because it keeps distracting me. Sorry. I forgot to turn the notifications off on my phone, and I use my phone to do the recording with. So therefore, whenever a WhatsApp message comes through, it's going bing, bing, bing on my phone, and it's breaking my train of thought. The point I'm trying to make to you is this. If Iran is attacked, expect the world's oil flow to be destroyed. The Straits of Hormuz will get closed. And if that happens, it's not a recession, it's a world disaster that's happening to the whole of the planet. And people need to understand the consequence of that. And here we have an Israeli prime minister that's been in power for 30 odd years on and off, who has told us how it would be brilliant if Iraq was dismantled, if Syria this, and now Iran. And the best part is America has got into $8 trillion worth of debt for Israel in Afghanistan, Iraq, I don't know where, everywhere in the world. And all of it is to help dismantle the enemies of Israel in this region. And they think Iran is going to be the last meal. And if Iran goes and it gets balkanized into Baluchistan and Sistan, I don't know what, Azadistan and Kurdistan and Arabistan and Farsistan and all this bullshit, that somehow or another they're going to be able to feel safe in the region. I'm just going to tell you that if there are Iranians who think that allowing Israel to come and help us and get this revolution done and get this the area cleaned up of the mullahs, if you think that is something that's useful to you, you're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot. And the reason I say it is because you're going to be siding on the same side as people who use pedophilia. And the last country that capitulated to Israel, which was Syria, had a nuclear weapon dropped on them. It's not in the mainstream media, but it is on Twitter. It is on places where people go there, check with Geiger counters, and see that there is higher levels of nuclear weapons being used in this area. But the BBC does not report it because the BBC is in league, as can be seen from the genocide. Everything is taken the Israeli point of view. CNN, CBS is now owned by Israelis. You think Iran is gonna survive as a nation if we get taken over in Iran? That we have this uprising and we have this Israeli Shah Pahlavi come in with his pedophile mates? Iran, if it wants to have a revolution, if the people want to change, have to do it themselves without the aid and or help of CIA, MI5, and Mossad feeding guns to people to come over and murder our police officers, to destroy 350 ambulances, to destroy 260 odd mosques, to just destroy buildings, private homes, destroy shops. You're not doing something to induce the people to come and walk out with you. You're terrorizing a state. That's what you're doing. So those of you who think that Iran needs to be saved by Israel, you want a pedophile in chief, Donald Trump, to come and help you subjugate your country so that they can be the next vassal state of Israel, the king of pedophiles. That's it. That's what they are. They're the kings of pedophilia. Donald Trump cannot be allowed to stay as the president of the United States of America. If the American people have got any sense of soul, any sense of righteousness, any sense of right and wrong, they cannot allow this guy to continue to be the president because he is fully compromised. He does exactly what Israel tells him to do. He doesn't do anything of his own free will. And whatever they ask him to do, he will brandish it and turn it into, this is what America wants. So I'm just saying to you all, I'm at the point where I sit here and I get angry every day and I shout into my phone. I do videos and I want people to wake up. And it's hard for me to understand how people think it's okay for a pedophile to start a war with Iran that's got nothing to do with it. Iran is not saying, let's have a war with America. Israel is saying, America, you need to go to war with Iran. Iran doesn't have a problem with anyone. Iran just wants to be left alone. But you know what? Iran is in a position right now where it's saying, we're not scared. If you want to start something, we'll finish it. We'll suffer. But in the end, they're not going to lose because the world is going to lose. And the world is going to lose because every single person, like Miss Graham, Lindsey Graham, Marco Rubio, all of these idiots in America that are going on about how we have to support Israel. Israel is our greatest ally. What the hell has Israel done for America other than cost it money? What has it done? And anyone that says anything against Israel, you're an anti-Semite. Why do we have to give money to Israel? Because if you don't, we're going to call you an anti-Semite. That's the logic, people. They've got enough money to be able to do all of the billions themselves, like Larry Ellison's worth 200, 300 billion. Why doesn't he fund Israel for the next 10 years and all that military stuff? Why do American taxpayers have to do it? So I just wanted to have the, as I said, I'm going to see if I can do these chats on a Saturday at 6 o'clock. It's coming up to 40 odd minutes right now. I'm going to try and cut and paste a couple of videos from this and I'll put them out there for people. I just wanted to say thank you very much to the followers that I've got on YouTube and everywhere else that are watching this live. Thank you for taking part. Not that you've said too much in the chat, so it doesn't matter. But thank you very much for watching, and I hope that I'll see you next Saturday at about 6 o'clock again, and we can discuss what's happening. Hopefully, Iran won't be under attack, because if it is under attack, my electricity might not be on. Got a funny feeling the world will come to an end. And yes, I do have a broken back. I've decided not to put an image behind me so that you think that, because I normally put the Israeli flag behind me or the American flag or the Iranian flag just to wind people up. But I've decided not to do any of that this time. So you can see this is my normal repose. I sit here and I do my videos either on my laptop on my left here or to my phone there. If you've got any questions that you want to ask me quickly, I'll reply to them in chat. If you don't, I'm going to bring it to an end. So if you've got any pertinent questions, I'm just going to read a couple of things. Iran will be victorious with war or without war. Iran will be powerful in the Middle East and victorious. I have to agree with you 100% with that. And the reason I say that is this. Iran has been under sanctions for 47 years near enough, maybe 46 years, yeah? Even with the harshest sanctions you could ever imagine, Iran is the 21st largest economy in the world. Can you imagine what Iran would be like if it wasn't sanctioned? Can you imagine the brain drain of all of these surgeons, doctors, and engineers that are in America, in Europe, who are walking around with their Iranian nationality, their Iranian pride? All of them are living in foreign countries. We can build the nuclear weapon like that, but we've chosen not to do that as the Iranian nation. So imagine what we'd be like without sanctions and where the Iranian people would choose to live in their own country because life is not so hard and harsh that's been imposed on them by America as an extension of Israel to punish Iran because of Israel. But by the same token, these sanctions that they've done, they have actually built a nation that has been able to stand up on its own 2 feet, has built a missile defense system, an offense system like no other. We were the third biggest producer of drones in the world up until a few weeks ago. Everyone else is now copying our drone technology and realize the effectiveness of the drones that we as Iranians have been building and, doing the research and development for. Iran has done all of this under sanctions. Imagine what Iran would be without these. Imagine the Iranian nation, because we are one of the oldest countries in the world. Where the Iranian basin is where humanity came from some 11,000, 12,000 years ago. That is where humanity started for us. I should say that, and Western civilization. So we are the cradle, and we shall continue to be the cradle of humanity, and the decency and generosity of Iranian people will never change. And I'm 100% certain that Israel will never, ever be able to defeat Iran. If anything, Israel's going to get destroyed point by point by point of every targeted missile that is going to hit them. And there is nothing they can do about it. Their defense and commanders begged America to get the ceasefire because there was nothing to stop them from destroying all of their military positions. And they did destroy their military positions. That's basically it. Okay, guys, there's no questions. Thomas Asadi, thank you very much, my brother. Nahid, thank you very much for the healing and recovery. Long live my beautiful Iran. Shame on the Iranian traitors. 100%. 100%. Thank you, Daniela. And Turk, Yurdu, inshallah, Hoz. Yallah. Shabbatun Bekhair, or good night, and God bless. And I'll catch you guys hopefully next Saturday. I will try my best to be here if my back will allow me. Okay, bless you all. Thank you very much for watching. There was a 29 people watching live on here. Amazing. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you.